All right. All right. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Miss Wallace. Are you there?
Hi, hi, baby.
How you doing?
I'm fine.
Good, good,
How
good,
are
good.
you?
I'm doing good. Can't
Good,
complain. Can't
good,
complain.
good.
So, yeah, just welcoming everybody in. We're going to give people a couple minutes to jump on. Hopefully, they are jumping on. Let's see. All right. So come on in, everybody. Come on in. As you're coming in, please say hello to Miss Wallace. Um, Say hello to her and just put your name in the chat for us so that we know that you're here. Put your name in the chat and let us know that you're here.
Mm.
Let us know that you are here. Put your name in the chat. Let's see. All right. I hope everybody has had a good Wednesday so far. I pray that all is going well for you. And tonight we are talking about communication with Mom Wallace. So I am going to also record this meeting as well. And we are going to go ahead and get started. So, welcome everybody into Wisdom Words with Mom Wallace. Tonight we are talking about communication. Communication is the cornerstone and the foundation of any healthy relationship, whether it be a marriage relationship, a friendship relationship. Good and solid communication is super important. And so we're excited that you took some time to join us this evening. I'm happy to have my mom with us, Miss Betty, and she's going to go ahead and talk to us. So, Mom, say hey to the people and go ahead and
Hello,
jump in.
everybody. Good evening. I want to talk about communications tonight, and there'll be a lot of scriptures. So, if you have a pencil and a notebook, pencils up, and we'll get started. And the first thing I want to say about communication is the scripture, and it's Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit of it. So you can jibber jabber, run your mouth if you want to, but what you have what you say. Okay, so the tongue can kill or it can nourish. Is your spouse speaking life to your life, or are they speaking doubt and death to your life? Proverbs 18:20 says, words satisfy the soul as food satisfies the stomach. The right words on a person's lips bring salvation. Communication is critical to a healthy and strong relationship. Each person must be able to clearly, honestly articulate their needs, their desires, their dreams, their expectations, their beliefs, their assumptions, their concerns, their fears, without any fear of being belittled or ridiculed. Whatever your beliefs are, whatever you expect, whatever you dream of, you should be able to express that to your husband or your wife and not be belittled or ridiculed by them. Men have been able to talk to each other on the moon. men going to the moon like they going downtown, but they can't even talk to their wives across the dining room table. Some
Wow.
people spend hours chatting with somebody they don't know, they never seen, they never met them, don't even know if they really who they say they are, but they cannot find 10 civil words to say to their husband or their wife. There are several kinds of communication. One is chit chat, that is talking about the weather, talking about sports. Oh, ask how was your weekend? What did you watch? What did you see on TV last evening? But I'm the type of person I can't chit chat. If I'm gonna talk to you, we're gonna talk about real stuff. I can't talk about the weather. I can't do nothing about it, so I have nothing to say about it. So if you gonna talk to me, we gonna talk deep, okay?
Okay.
All right. Then there's
No
the
chit chat.
then there's the news review. And that's talking about what you saw on the news on TV or online or CNN or read in a magazine or somewhere, but there's no personal involvement in that. Then there's friendly chatter, talking about your personal ideas, your philosophies, your likes and dislikes, but you need transparent communication. That's what we want, transparent communication. That is talking about how you feel, where you hurt, your desires, your aspirations, what makes you feel sad, what makes you happy, your difference, the differences between you and the person you're talking to, talking about your values, along with open and honest communication. That involves sharing yourself totally and completely, holding back nothing, unashamed, and not afraid of rejection or ridicule. Wanting someone to know you intimately. I'm not just talking about sexual intimacy, but wanting someone to know you intimately, thoroughly, closely, entirely, and to share your inmost thoughts. And the word intimacy to me means into me see. Intimacy is into me see. That's the inmost part of me knowing the inmost part of you. It is said that communication is 7% verbal. That means what is said. It's 55% tone of voice. How you perceive what has been said based on the volume of the voice and the temperament of the person speaking. And 39% is body language, how you receive it. If I'm sitting with my arms folded, my cell phone laying right beside me so that I don't miss another call, and
Oh
you
my.
know, it is saying I really have no interest in what you're about to talk about. Okay. So our body language needs to be open, unfold your arms, lean forward, look person straight in the eye to let them know that they have your attention. And singers, single people, there is intimacy, into me see, that is gathering information by phone, not physical intimacy.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. She said for the single folks, get out the bed and get on the phone. Come on here.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Effective communication means both parties must participate in order to have effective communication. A short attention span can block or shut down communication. You must have the right attitude wanting what is best, not who's right or who's winning the argument. That's not important. We want what is best for us. Okay, we're not trying to win or lose. You give your ideas, I give my ideas, and then maybe God can help get us on a plan together and we can get come out with what's best for us, not who's right or who's wrong, okay? It will always bring peace. Effective communication will always bring peace. Start with prayer before you even attempt to have a discussion with your husband or your wife. Start with prayer, and prayer will fix your heart and your mind. Okay, that's part one of our communication. Part two is the 10 commandments of communication. And number one is talk about everything. Amos 3:3 says, how can two walk together except they be agreed? Don't assume anything, talk about everything. Assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. Do not assume. Singles, as I said, dating should be used for more phone time than physical time. Proverbs 16:16 speaks to the importance of getting wisdom and understanding. It said how much better it is to get wisdom than gold and understanding than silver. Commandment number two is choose to change. Matthew 7:3-5 advises us to not attempt to get a mote, that is a little speck, out of someone else's eyes when we have a beam, and that's a whole telephone pole, in our own eyes, okay? You know yourself. You know how you're selfish and whatever faults you may have. Let your husband and your wife know what things you think they need to change. Let them know, husband or your wife. And even when you're dating, if person is doing something that you really don't like, let them know and get a clear understanding of why there's something they may be doing that gets on your nerves or that's a habit. Let them know that you see that. Then let them know if there's something you're willing to change or if it's something that you're not going to change. Okay, because some of us, we grow up a certain way and we're in the habit of doing some things and we're not going to change. Some things you're not going to change. The morning after our wedding, I went in the bathroom and I saw something I had never seen in my life. There was a dent in the toothpaste tube. I nearly fell over. I said to myself, oh God, I married a heathen. This man ain't saved. Oh Lord, what have I done? I took away his salvation and I was ready to go get the marriage and all.
Mercy.
I never saw that before. So I asked him, what happened to the toothpaste? He said, what do you mean? I told him there's a dent in it. And he was puzzled about what I was talking about. I said, you're supposed to roll the toothpaste up from the bottom so that you can get all of the toothpaste out of the tube. And he said, look, I was just trying to brush my teeth. I didn't know it was a science project. So I had, that was an experience for me. That was something new, with toothpaste squeezed in the middle. Anyway, we must understand when we get married, we're trying to merge two households, his way of doing things and your way of doing things. We must adjust to each other and to each other's ways through co-mingling. them together to have harmony in the home. Oh, eventually he did see the value of rolling the toothpaste up from the bottom. Thank
Okay.
God. So, with God's help, you can change yourself, but you cannot change anybody. You can't change a whole man or a whole woman. A person has to look at themselves and realize that, hey, I need to stop this or I need to change this. They need to come to that conclusion for themselves. You can't change anyone. God, uh, he doesn't even want us to require so much a change. He just wants us to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. Okay, so you can't change anybody else. Philippians 4:13 says you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. So we can change. And if it's something that really gets on your husband or your wife's nerves, you know, look at yourself and see if that's something you can easily change.
I want to stop you right there
Hmm.
because something else, this concept can translate over into friendships as well. You have to determine how valuable is a friend to you. If there's something that you're doing that's irritating to them, are you willing to make an adjustment for that friend?
Hmm.
And are they willing to make adjustments for you? No relationship should be one-sided, where
Hmm.
one person is making all these adjustments and the other person is not willing to make adjustments.
Hmm.
So if you're in relationships, whether it's a marriage relationship or a friendship or a colleague, if you find yourself, always trying to force the other person to change, or they're always trying to force you to change, that's not a good exchange. That's not even allowing you to be who you need to be. But in terms of relationships that you value, it is important to make adjustments to help people. And those adjustments in the long run will make for a better relationship for everybody involved.
Okay.
All right.
Um,
Were you on number 4 or number 3?
Singles don't get carried away so quickly. Observe, stop first of all. Don't get all in love and lose your mind. Look, observe their family, their friends. Go to the family reunion. See how their mother and father talk to each other. See how they act, how their God, how he treats his wife, the woman, the guy. See how her mother talks to her husband. Stop, look, and listen. Listen. See how they talk, what they talk about, who they talk to. Okay. 3 is compromise. Ephesians 5:21. Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. Co compromise means, I say, it means to co promise. That's my definition for compromise. Me. Generally, God makes you attracted to someone that is the opposite of you. If you are a spender, chances are you'll be attracted to a penny pincher. Somebody so tight they squeak when they walk. Somebody that stretch a dollar to the eagle grin. That's the way God makes us. We're attracted to the opposite person. And when we're going together, opposite attract. After marriage, opposites attack. In marriage, you must agree on how to handle your money situation. First, you need to know the financial status of your husband and your wife. When you marry, their credit score, their credit history will become yours. Okay? Some couples do not include their other half when applying for credit because the other half is not credit worthy. Some people have to continue to get credit and to get things in their maiden name because their husband or their wife's credit is all messed up. So if your husband or your wife's credit score is 350, it becomes yours after the wedding. Co-promise on how your money will be handled separately or in a lump sum with a split after the remain after all the bills are paid. We're going to split. You take some, I take some. Okay. And however you pay your bills, do not compromise on tithing. See before you marry somebody if they believe in tithing. If you believe in tithing, if you don't, it's okay if they don't. But you see if they believe in tithing and then determine how you're going to tithe, off of the gross or off of the net. And I tell you, it's gross to tithe off the net. How much will you give for offering? My husband came from the old school where men handled all the money. Of course, in those days, many women didn't have jobs. But when I got married, I had a job. My husband had a job. So when payday came, and this is something that should have been a before the vows discussion. This should have been a before the vows discussion. I was wondering when we were going to the bank to set up an account. Well, it never happened, never even came up. Well, I asked about it anyway. He said he kept track of his money in his head and he didn't need any record of his expenditures and his things that he paid out. He knew what all he had to do and what he had left. And so I said, oh, I could just see my checks bouncing all over the bank. Put my money in church and my check bouncing all over the church. So I told him, well, baby, I will break bread with you. I will bed with you, but I can't bank with you. I have, I have to know where my money is. So we
Mm,
never had a joint account. Now, I did get him to agree to each of us put the other one's name on the account.
mm,
So if somebody died, we could get the money real easy, okay? So he did agree to that. So 48 and a half years, he only had two issues at the bank that I know of. So he must have had his stuff in his head. Okay, you must promise to submit to and yield to each other so that every decision you make as a couple should result in both of you being happy, getting something you want, and being able to function. A good example would be buying a new car. Okay, if we're going to get a new car, we should bring this idea together. We
mhm,
should pick the make and the model, the color, the features. Okay, you should have some say so, and I should have some say so, especially if this payment is coming out of a joint account. Now, if one person doesn't care, they just say, go on, baby, get whatever you want, honey. You know, you free to do what you want to do. But if
mhm.
this is going to be a out of our account purchase, we're both paying for this, we both need to have some say so. Okay, now say we're getting a new refrigerator or a new stove. We want to know what color, we want to know the features. You know, your husband might want ice and water and everything on the door. You might not want that, you know, but we need to sit down and discuss and talk about what we want and how we want it. So, no big ticket items should be purchased without each other's knowledge, agreement, the budget discussed in terms of paying for the item. Compromise is important. No big ticket item, no 70-inch TV ought to be coming in the door and I don't even know about it. No, I should know. I should know we get the 70-inch TV before we get it. No one can have his or her own way all the time. If you do, an emotional divorce will result. You, uh,
Mercy.
when your partner doesn't care what's done, doesn't care about anything, don't care what happens in the home, they're no, they don't know where you go, what you do, they divorced you.
Wow.
They've
An
divorced,
emotional divorce.
you know, and
Wow.
you just living with a roommate, you know, being they've left you. You left you. You don't even know it. They're just your roommate. They're just there. And you don't want a marriage like that. You know, you want your marriage to be vibrant and exciting. You know, you don't want somebody to divorce you and you don't even know about it. Okay? So you
It's
can't
real.
have your way all the time. You can't be the head all I mean the head decision maker every time. You have to consult with your husband and your wife. Okay, marriage is a submission is a two-way street. It's the thing is submission is a funny thing. A drunk on the street knows about submission. Never been to church a day in his life. But he said a woman's supposed to submit to her husband. Everybody know about submission. But we're submit one to the Bible says submitting one to another in the fear of God. Okay, First Peter 5:5 says, in the same way, you who are younger, submit to your elders. All of you, clothe yourself in humility toward one another, because God opposes the proud, but gives favor to the humble. And I believe we're on number 4. Don't be critical. Proverbs 12:18. There is one who speaks rashly like the thrush of a sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Criticism most often destroys something when in us, our self-esteem or our self-confidence. Have you ever been on a job and you had an evaluation and the boss talked about how wonderful you are, what a great gift you are to the job you're doing, but all of a sudden they say, "But oh God, you just had to put your butt in." When you say "but," doesn't it? It takes your whole spirit down. They said a whole lot of good things, but when they put that "but" in there, there's one thing thou lackest. And that's the way we feel when we're criticized. It was fine as long as they were glorifying us at the beginning of the evaluation, but when they put that "but" in there, our self esteem just goes down. Every time you open your mouth, you are constructing, that is building up, or demolishing, that is tearing down your husband or your wife. James 3 1 through 12 compares the tongue to a raging fire. And just as you cannot control the damage that fire does, an uncontrolled tongue can do terrible damage. The words of the wise bring healing. You get a new hairdo, you get a new haircut, and you ask your husband or your wife, how do you like it? And if you don't like it, don't be ignorant. You can say something like, well, baby, I like the way you used to wear your hair, or I like the way you had it cut the last time. You know, I like the hairdo you had on our wedding day. But don't be ignorant. Don't say, you look a wreck. Be kind, okay? Before you criticize something, ask yourself, first of all, and what I am about to say, is it true?
Mm,
Is it edifying?
mm.
That means, is it going to build up this person? Or is it necessary? Do I really have to say this? We don't always have to say the first thing that comes to our mind. You don't
Amen.
always have to criticize,
Amen.
Sometimes just be quiet,
Just be quiet.
be quiet.
Study to be quiet.
Right. And the lady said, put the shut to the up and shut up. There should be no below the belt criticisms. That is criticizing people about things over which they have no control. We don't
Mhm.
control the size of our nose. You can't
Sure
control how
can't
short
neither.
or tall you are.
Mhm.
you know, Even with our weight, sometimes it gets out of control. But if you're not willing to help them do something about it, then don't talk about it. And I ask people to have at least two creative solutions before you offer a criticism.
That's good.
If they're overweight and you don't like it, offer to change your way of eating as well as theirs. Okay, you might eat the same food that they eat. Don't you go getting burgers and fries, and they eating Swiss chard and uh, what's that stuff with the guy and lettuce and tomatoes. No, you eat the same thing they're eating. You might have to get a bigger portion in order to be filled because you might eat more than they do, but eat the same thing that they eat. Okay, no snacking. Change your diet. Don't bring home a bag of potato chips. Talking about, now, baby, I'm supposed to be on a diet. You don't need none of those chips. No, don't bring the chips in the house. Okay, and go bowling instead of to the fast food restaurant. Go bowling. Go for a walk after dinner. Okay, so if you're not ready to participate and to be part of, give her, say, baby, I'll watch the kids. If you don't like her hair, baby, I'll watch the kids, and you go to the hairdresser. Okay, go to the hairdresser every other week. I'll watch the children. You know, make a creative solution. If you don't have one, keep your shut to the up. Don't be quiet. Don't be running your mouth if you're not willing to do anything to help the person. And if you're not willing to participate in the solution, then don't say anything about what you don't like. Do not compare. This is number 5. Do not compare or covet. Exodus 20:19 says, you should not covet your neighbor's house, his wife, his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. You should not covet. Coveting goes beyond simply adoring and wishing that you had it. It includes envy,
Mm,
resenting the fact that they have it and you don't.
mercy.
Don't compare your husband and your wife with anyone else. Do not compare your standard of living with anyone else's. You don't know how people get the things that they have. Their parents might be sending them money every month. Maybe they make more money than you do. You don't know
Mm,
how people
that's
get
right.
that they have. Okay.
That's right.
This one lady said that her and her husband eat P&J. That's peanut butter and jelly. That's sandwiches. That's what they eat so they could live in Squirrel Hill. They
Wow.
eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And you say, I don't eat no peanut butter and jelly every day, honey. I could have me some steak and See, you're not willing to make the sacrifice.
Texas Roadhouse.
You don't want to make the sacrifice.
Mhm.
So don't envy somebody else. You don't know what they're doing to get what they want or what they
That's
have.
right. That's right.
Do Psalms 37, 1 through 4, and I'm paraphrasing, says, do not fret over evil doers or those who work unrighteousness, for they shall soon be cut down like grass. But if you trust and rely on Him and delight yourself in the law of the Lord, He will give you the desires of your heart. Okay, so don't envy people that they might be running numbers or selling drugs. You don't know what people doing. So don't even
So
look at
true.
nobody and envy them
That's
because
so
you don't
true.
know what they doing. Okay. You just delight yourself in the Lord and He'll give you the desires of your heart. Do not go in debt to pretend you have more than you do to impress other people. Luke 12:15, Jesus said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life does not consist in the abundance of things he possesses. You're not defined by how many things you have, by how much you have. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
don't define yourself by that. Don't I work such and such a place or I
Mm-hmm.
live such and such a place. Don't define yourself by that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Hebrew 13 and 5 says, let your conversation be without covetousness. Be content with such things as you have. For he said, I will never leave you or forsake you. And things will not make you happy for very long. You ever want something real bad? You know, in 2, 3 weeks, you wanting something else. you know, so things won't make you happy for the long run. So live below your means and develop a beautiful relationship with your family. Relish what you have. Don't resent what you don't have. Relish what you have and don't resent what you don't have. We're on number 6. Compliment, compliment. Proverbs 15:24. Pleasant words are as a honeycomb, sweet to the mind and healing to the body. Compliment each other consistently, build each other up. When I started dating the man that I eventually married, I felt lower than a snake's belly. You talking about low self esteem? I had no self esteem. After a few years with him, he made me feel like I was the smartest, the finest woman in the world, in
Wow.
the city of Pittsburgh, anyway. He made me feel so good. He just built me up, you know. So build each other up. He complimented every day as I left for work. I know that he was sincere because there were degrees to his compliment. Sometimes I just looked all right. And he said, oh, baby, you look nice. And I was just mediocre that day. Then another time he said, baby, can you go in late today? Can't you take off a couple hours?
Uh, TMI, Jesus. TMI. Kill the visual.
And sometimes he said, baby, I can't wait till you get back home. Okay. So he built me up. When somebody in the street said, "Hey, mama, how you doing?" Or, "Hey, lady, you look nice." I just say thank you. I wouldn't even turn around to see who it was because I was fortified from home. I was built up from home. My husband had already endorsed me before I left home. So your little compliment didn't mean nothing to me.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, And he never left the table without saying thank you. You know, Sometimes it was Pizza Hut, sometimes it was KFC or some other establishment, but he always said, baby, thank you for dinner. And I
Mhm.
said, but baby, I didn't cook. He said, yeah, baby, but you took the time to put it on the plate for me, you know. And a lot of days, my husband was sick, and he'd be, baby, can I have a tray? Please don't make me come to the table. So I fix him a tray and take it to the bed to him. And he said, baby, and you just brought my food to the bed. I said, I appreciate that. And he said, I just want to say never missed a day saying thank you.
Mhm.
Always. And I'm telling you, thank you. I'm sorry. Please excuse me. Those words will carry you far. Sometimes manners will get you places where money won't get you.
All
You
right.
know, so you use your manners. And then after the wedding, after the marriage, you've been married 50 years, tell her still, thank you, baby. Thank you. Pay, don't sit at the table and pass me this. You know, thank you.
Mhm.
Could you please pass me the butter? Or
Please and thank
thank
you.
you, please, thank you. Those words are so important. They're little words, but they're so important. And they can
Mhm.
do a lot for a person's ego and building them up. Show your appreciation for large and small things.
Mhm.
Okay. And learn your a husband and your wife, learn their love language. You know what it is they like. Do they like acts of service? Some woman, you clean out the garage, she'll be all over you. You know,
Mm.
I don't understand, but that's some people acts of service turns them on. You know what I'm saying? Some
Everybody has
women
their
want
thing.
gifts. Some people
Yeah.
don't want gifts. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Mm.
See what her love language is and take advantage of it often. Don't give her what you like, give her
That's
what
right.
she likes. And that's the mistake we make. And another mistake that we make in marriage is giving people what we like. I like for somebody to give me a gift. Well, your wife may not like that. Like I said, she might want you to clean out that garage.
Right.
She might turn on the TV and do a dance if you clean out that garage because that turns her on. So find out what her love language is and take advantage of it and give her her love language. Give it to her often. Proverbs 15:4 says, a gentle tongue with its healing power is a tree of life, but willful contrariness in it breaks down the spirit. There should be no negative or derogatory remarks, labeling, or name calling where there is real love. My baby you always called me doll baby, but when he called me Betty, I knew I was in trouble.
I don't think I ever heard him call you Betty,
Uh,
ever.
well, because he didn't let you know when I was in trouble.
That was smart.
But he always called me doll baby. When he said Betty, I said, oh Lord, what did I do now? So, you should have a sweet name for your husband or your wife. And you should have even a special name for lovemaking. Can't tell you what I call my husband, but
Please don't.
you
Please.
know, you have a special name for your husband, just a sweet name. Just call your husband your wife. Don't come, Ralph. Get in here. Your dinner's
Mhm.
ready. Have a sweet name. Have a sweet spirit. Number 7 is be courteous. Ephesians 4:29 and 30. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only which is helpful to build up others according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. And be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving for Christ's sake, who has forgiven you. Have you how to disagree with each other. This is how to have an argument. First of all, watch your tone of voice. Okay. Learn how to listen. Get all the facts before you answer the situation and be
Okay.
open to new ideas. Hear both sides of the situation before you judge it. Proverbs 18:13 says to answer before listening, that is a folly and shame. Ask for a rain check if you're too tired or angry for effective listening, but you must discuss the matter later. Courtesy is wonderful even after the wedding. As I said, please, thank you, I'm sorry, please forgive me are beautiful words, appropriate and necessary. Then there's the other intimacy. After you make up from the argument, there's that other intimacy for the married people. Never disrespect your husband or your wife in public. Develop signals with each other. Have a signal that says you talking too much, you talking too loud, roll your eyes. Have another signal that says I'm ready to go home. Okay? And honor those signals, even if you don't agree with them. You talking and you tell maybe you telling a joke and you telling you've fallen out laughing, you having a good time, and your husband giving you the eye like hush, you too loud. Honor those signals, even if you don't agree with him. If your husband or your wife's signal says I'm ready to go home, if you holding in a great conversation, say, well, give me your number, girl, so I can call you and we can finish this. You know what I mean? But honor their signals. Okay. And other people will respect your husband or your wife the way you do. Okay.
Real.
Your
That's real.
other people respect your husband and your wife. People treat me like I'm somebody special, and I'm nobody, but my husband always treated me so special. Everybody else treated me special, you know. So treat them special, and everybody else will do the same. Number 8 is tell the truth. Colossians 3 and 9. Do not lie to each other, since you have taken off your old self with its practices. Ephesians 4:15. Instead, speaking the truth in love, we will grow to become, in every respect, the mature body of Him which is the head, that is Christ. Be honest, but not brutally blunt. Like I said, be honest. You can be honest, but try to temper it. Try to make it sweet. We're not trying to kill each other.
Amen.
We trying to build each other up. Okay,
Amen.
so you can be honest. You can
Amen.
tell the truth, but just say, "Baby, I wish you hadn't have done that," or "I wish you would do this or that." You know what I mean? Don't be brutally blunt. Um, Be honest, as I said, but not brutally blunt. You want to edify, that is to build up rather than to tear down. Your husband or your wife is not your enemy, people. Your husband and your wife is not your enemy. Satan is your enemy. Okay?
That's
No
truth.
other man or woman should be your best friend or confidant. No one should be a shoulder to cry on of the opposite sex. You, woman, you don't need to go to no other man with your problems. You don't need to talk to your coworker about your husband, because one of these times he might offer you some comfort.
Right? That's real.
you don't talk to no man about your husband.
That's real.
Husband, you don't talk to no woman about your wife because she keeping track. Oh, his wife don't cook. He said his wife don't keep the house clean. She keeping track, and she gonna do all these things that your husband say you don't do. Okay, so we're not doing that. Pastors, if you're meeting with a woman, your wife should be there. One of the old mothers, or one of the old deacons, somebody should be there. Don't
That's
you be
real.
meeting with no women by yourself. The
That's
Bible said,
real.
put no confidence in the
In the
flesh. And
flesh.
I take that
Amen.
to mean my flesh, your flesh, and everybody's flesh. I heard one
Amen.
man say, I can't trust myself. How can I trust her? He said, I don't trust myself. And
Mhm.
and the thing is, we don't need to trust ourselves. If you meeting with a woman, you take somebody with you.
Mhm.
Okay, you don't go to nobody's house 2 o'clock in the morning. She talking about she's sick, and you get over there and she got on a negligee and all made up. No, no. You stay. You tell me and my wife will be over in the morning to pray for you.
At a reasonable hour.
Huh?
At a reasonable hour, a
Yeah, the
decent hour.
reasonable hour, right? If you can't wait, call 911. Okay. Uh, you should be able to expose yourself to your husband or your wife. You should be able to tell your husband or your wife about your fears and everything without fears of them using that information to manipulate or exploit you. Okay? Don't tell your family negative things about your husband or your wife there unless they're physically abusing you or something. But your family members will want to take your part and they'll fall out with your husband and your wife, especially if they are not saved. Okay? The two of you can make up, but your family may never be cordial to your husband and wife again. Okay, so don't take your problems to your mother and father. The goal of marriage is intimacy, intimacy, knowing my shortcomings, my faults, my failures, my weaknesses, while still being able to love and respect me. Okay, number 9, silence severs. Ecclesiastes 3:93. There's a time to be silent and a time to speak. Silence is golden when it's an act of love. It should not be used to communicate anger, dissatisfaction, pouting, sulking, none of that. It must be understood by both husband and wife and accompanied by a hug, a pat, a wink, a kiss, or something to assure your husband and wife that they have done nothing wrong. You're upset about something else. Okay, you always want to, when you in a bad mood or out of sorts, you always want to assure your husband or your wife that is not something that they've done.
Mm.
Okay. And it's if you're quiet and moody and don't want to be bothered, go take a shower. Maybe you feel better after that. Come back again when you can feel better. Okay. If it's a real problem, then it needs to be discussed. Okay. It's something we need to talk about. And number 10 is get rid of anger. Okay, Ephesians 4:26-27 says, be angry and do not sin. Do not give the devil an opportunity to get a foothold, and do not allow anything to fester in you. Do not hold a grudge or nurture anger or harbor resentment or cultivate bitterness. Deal with your anger immediately and in a way that will build your relationship. Satan is waiting to step in and drive a wedge between you and your wife. Okay? James 1:19 says, Give James gives an excellent advice on controlling anger, resolving conflict. Let every man slow, be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. James says, give excellent advice for um, resolving conflict. Be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. The only times you should put your hands on your husband or your wife is to cuddle, to connect, to caress, or to comfort. That's the only time you should put your hands on your husband or your wife. To comfort, to cuddle, to caress, and to connect. Distinguish between things that get on your nerves and things that actually affect your marriage. Okay? For example, leaving dirty socks and dirty dishes around, snoring, being late, always have to be too early. Okay? Don't like the same TV shows, or you talk on the cell phone too much. These are things that can get on your nerves, but it has nothing to do with your marriage, okay? It will not affect your marriage. Let it go, okay? And the next thing is to avoid explosive words. Divorce, that's number one. I'm leaving. You always. You never. You better or you better not. You're wrong. I told you so. All you ever do is complain. You are just like your father. You just like your mother. That's the way your family is. That's the way your family acts. These are explosive words. What on earth were you thinking? What's wrong with you? Can't you do anything right? It's all your fault. I can't do anything to please you. You're getting what you deserve. You're getting a dose of your own medicine. Why can't you be more responsible? You're impossible. I don't know why I put up with you.
Mighty
You're a
God.
woman. You wouldn't understand this.
Mm.
That was stupid. You're always thinking of yourself. You think you are always right. You always have to have the last word. If you don't like it, you can leave. There are plenty of women or men who would love to be with me. Nobody wants you but me. Those are explosive words. And I want to tell you, part three fell on the floor, so I'm going to get it. And that is NBFB. No business on Facebook. No business on Facebook. Okay? Social media is destroying marriages in our world today. Unless you're using it for your business or to maintain relationship with family, clients, your church, or to order produce or services, your use should be very minimal. Make it a practice to keep your travel plans off of Facebook before you take the trip. Somebody may take a trip to your house while you taking a trip to the Bahamas. Don't put your stuff out there. Don't tell everybody you leaving home. Post your pictures when you return from the trip. Don't post yourself down on the Virgin Islands. Somebody going to your house while you on the Virgin Islands, okay? Don't get in the habit of comparing yourself or your marriage to what you see posted on Facebook. Unfortunately, what people post is not always their reality.
The truth.
Facebook is not for your autobiography, okay? It's not for your life story. Don't put it on Facebook. Be careful accepting friends' requests from singles or individuals in a marriage. Have a clear policy with each other about what friends requests you should and should not accept. Tracking should be an act of love for safety and protection, not for a lack of trust. Don't marry somebody you don't trust that you have to track. Avoid taking and sharing any nude photos in somebody's DM, that's their direct message, and don't entertain any of those on Facebook or other social media. It's pornography, and we're children of God. Your husband and wife, they should be satisfactory to you. My husband told me when the first day he saw my body, he took a picture of it in his mind and he kept that picture his whole life. He said through pregnancy, he said, I don't know if you gained weight or nothing. He said, because I kept that picture in my mind the whole time we were married. So, your wife is your husband and your wife, that's it. That's it. Whatever they look like, I
That's the
one
image.
day I had gotten the lingerie outfit for Valentine's Day. My husband said, "Baby, I don't need that." He said, "Now go get your long johns and your knee socks, cause I know you cold. Get that stuff off." He said, "I don't need that to make me want you." You know, so love each other. And I want to conclude by saying to the ladies, a man wants to be respected. Above all else, a man, he, more than he wants love, he wants respect. Okay? A man might have a beautiful home, a beautiful wife, beautiful children, and he might now be down on Skid Row because a woman down there showing him respect. So respect your husband. Husbands, a woman needs to be loved. She needs to be loved and she needs meaningful conversation. Okay? Not just chatter, chit chat like we talked about, not what's on the news, but she needs to be able to bare her heart to talk to you and you need to listen. She needs to be heard and to be loved. And that will result in a beautiful marriage. And thank you all for coming tonight. Bye bye.
Well, thank you, Miss Wallace. On the communication front, there was lots of nuggets that you dropped. So if you were watching or if you missed this time and you want to catch the replay, I'm going to leave this up on my Facebook page, Trishonda Ward. I'm also going to post this on the Encourage Productions YouTube channel. So I will share that information also on my Facebook page as well. But we definitely want to thank everybody and we hope that you took notes. We hope that you got some nuggets about communication. There was a couple things that really stood out to me. The word compromise means to co-promise. You can also be in a situation where you're in an emotional divorce, living in the same household, but you're roommates because of your lack of or poor communication. Another thing that stood out to me was be creative with your solutions before offering criticism. That was a great one. And everybody, regardless to if you're in a relationship or not, should remember that manners will get you places that money cannot carry you. And so those were just some of the nuggets that I pulled out of Miss Wallace's talk this evening. So I want to thank you, Mom. Thank you for coming
You're
on
welcome,
and
baby.
talking to the people about communication. And again, we're so excited. Thank you all, those of you who've been saying, when is Mom Wallace going live again? Well, here she is, live and in color. And I'm sure she'll want to go live again at some other point and talk about something else that's critical to relationships. So again, thank you everybody for coming on. I'm going to leave this up. Check it out again if you missed it. Catch the replay, and we will be posting it on YouTube as well. Have a great evening, everybody. We love you, and good night.
Good night.